guys, Commander, and welcome to a new video on PC Building Simulator. Now, what we're going to be doing today is a third of the now 4 things that we're going to be doing in this little, set of things. I've replaced the cheapest PC we've built for a case that we're going to do the next video. But I'm not going to say what that is for the time being because I want to get on and do this. I also don't want to leave any spoilers for that video. So, anyway, what we're going to be doing today is wanted to do something that is like a bit of an experiment. I wanted to see how it would work. Now, this would either go one of 2 ways. The way I think it is on a complete different direction that I don't expect. Now, what I've got here is I've got a PC just I randomly put together. It's got a i9-9900K. It's got an 850 watt power supply. It's got 64 gigs of DDR4 4000 MHz RAM. It's got 2080 Ti. An SSD and I think that's, what's that? I think that's a fan or something. But you're basically a very average, like high spec PC, right? I would say very average PC, but it's not. A very average, high spec PC, 2080 Ti, 9900K, etc. But what I wanted to test out is to see if what would happen if I try. So we've done overclocking before, which you increase the core voltage and the memory clocks to make it faster, but I want to see what would happen if we did the opposite and downclocked and underclocked the system to see how it would perform. Now, there's one of 2 ways that it will go. The first way is it'll just slow the thing down completely and just stop it from just lower the 3D Mark score. Now, bear in mind, I haven't 3D Mark scored this yet, but it can either just slow it down completely and collapse the 3D Mark score and just lower it to the appropriate thing for the core clocks. But the other thing that it could do is just completely do something completely out of the ordinary and break it potentially. Now, the reason why I think this is slightly interesting to do is there's 3 major things. Well, actually, it depends on the system, but there's 2 major things that you have with computer components. You have your memory. So for graphics cards, it's memory and clock speeds, and it's the same with RAM. So you got your memory amount and your clock speed. So for the RAM, it'd be 16 gigs of RAM. That's one, with 4000 megahertz, which is the speed, which is the other half. 2080 Ti, 11 gigs of video memory, but I'm not sure what the clock speed is, but that's the other half of it. Memory clock is similar, but it's not as, that will sort of come in with the clock speeds anyway. So, what I'm slightly interested to see, and with CPUs, you've got your cores and your clock speed, but what I'm quite interested to do is to see if one will work without the other, or work with the other being as low frequency as we can. So, because we've tried that if we've got, let's say, a 2 gig graphics card, we can boost the clock up to its maximum and it'll increase the performance of that graphics card. But what would happen if it works the other way, where we've got a really high spec graphics card with 11 gigs of video memory in it, but we push the clock speed down to its base as low as we possibly can? What will happen then? And it goes the same with the CPU and the RAM as well. So I'm quite interested to see how this is going to pan out. Now, I haven't tried this in real life because I haven't got a test bench where I can actually use this. However, what I think will happen is I think it's just going to slow the entire machine down. So what we need is we need GPU tuner. We also need OCCT. I also want to install system info because I want to know the temperature difference as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it on the base clock that we've got at the moment. Run 3D Mark and see what the spec is when we come just on its base at the moment. So we'll do, so that shows the temperatures. So this is, at the moment, it's on normal base. We won't overclock or anything, we'll just do it on its base clock. So the memory clock is 1767 and core clock is 1770. So that's the clocks at the moment. So if we click run, temperature's relatively average 64 65 degrees. Power draw is the, well, that's the maximum power draw. It's going up the power draw as standard. The GPU temperature is 31 degrees, which is perfectly fine. It's a 7-core CPU because it's a, well, actually, it's an 8-core CPU, sorry, because 900K. So we'll just see what it's like, and we'll see, because this is something else I'm quite interested in how it affects the temperatures by underclocking it. Now, in real life, I would not suggest underclocking your system because it just makes it slower. It's going to make the system slower. There's no doubt about that because you're basically decreasing the speed in which it can work at. Now, I'm not even sure if you can underclock your CPU and your memory. I know you can do it with the graphics card because it gives you the option to push it up and down. But I'm really interested to see what the difference is with if you can, again, like I said earlier, it'll obviously be slower, but what actually happens, because you have got the memory, amount, let's say 2080 Ti, it's a 11 gig video card, but the combination of a 11 gig video card plus a really low clock speed, whether that'll even itself out maybe, or whether it'll make it slower, I don't know. Same with the 9900K. It's a 5 gigahertz CPU, and that's its overclock, by the way. Right, so 12,138. So the 9900K, it's a 5 gigahertz CPU. I think it's 4.6 on base clock. We'll have a look at that in a minute. I'll cut ahead just quickly, briefly in a minute, and just have a look at it. But I'm really interested to see if we push it down to, let's say, 4 gigahertz, how it's going to even itself out. So what I'm going to do first of all, so it's 12,138 now. So what I'm going to do is let's turn 3D marker off. What I'm going to do is we go to GPU tuner. Now this might not even work. This might even power through OCCT. It may just blue screen on us. But we can move it all the way down here. We can move all this all the way down here. We can move all this all the way down here. Now what I want to do, for the warrant of the fact that I don't want to, because if I don't give it enough power, it is just going to blue screen on me straight away. So it needs to have enough power. So if I stick that up to 120, at least there we know that it's going to have enough power. It might have a bit more overpower, so I may need to tone it down a little bit, but I'm not entirely sure. So what I'm going to do, if I click apply, we'll run OCCT. We'll just do it on the automatic one because that'll be our telltale. CPU again, 5 gigahertz. We'll test that out later. Now, ideally, it shouldn't blue screen on us. Now, the only reason why I say that is the only reason why it would blue screen on us is if the temperature is too much, or there's not. If the temperature gets above, I think it's gets near 100 degrees, it'll blue screen on us. Or if the power draw is above what is in the CPU, what is in the computer in of itself. So it's an 850 watt power supply. So as long as the power draw doesn't go above that, and it hasn't, so it hasn't blue screen on us. So our GPU is fine. So what we're going to do now is what I'm going to do, switch the PC off, open it back up, and go into the BIOS, and we'll go into let's go into the RAM overclock. So okay, so it's already at 2666 megahertz anyway. So what we want to do, we'll put it down to 2133. We'll put the core voltage up to 5 volts. Now can we turn? Yes, right, we can turn it down. So what I want to do, I'm just going to cut ahead in the video. Just literally, for you, it's going to be instant. But I just want to see what the base clock for the 9900K actually is. So we're back in just a second. Alright, so I'm looking at the spec on my phone of the 9900K, and its processor base clock is 3.6 gigahertz, which is actually lower than I thought it was going to be. The max turbo obviously is 5 gigahertz, which is what we've got here, but 3.6 gigahertz is actually quite low. So what I want to do is let's pump this down as low as we can possibly get it. Below, so it's 3.6 gigahertz normally on its base. So when you buy it on stock, it's 3.6 gigahertz. So let's push it down to, let's see how low we can actually get it. Now again, this may blue screen. Let's stick it back up just to 100, just to keep it as a whole number. Right, I stick it at 2 gigahertz and see how that works. Now again, I highly doubt this is going to work. This may instantly blue screen on me, but I'm really quite interested to see an 8-core CPU. Oh no, it hasn't actually. But I'm really interested to see an 8-core CPU alongside a 2 gigahertz base clock. So let's click run and see where we get to. Oh, actually, before I do that, I want to just open up system info just for the warrant of having temperatures. Now, obviously, as we can see, the frame rate is obviously going to be lower because we have literally underclocked everything to its maximum. But I can't lie, it's not. I thought it would be a lot lower. Now we can't crank down the RAM any more than 2133 because that's the lowest clock speed that we can actually get in this game. But I want to see how much more I can crank down the CPU before it tells me I can't do it anymore. But saying that though, like, it's not running at a bad frame rate. 60 FPS on a constant, and that's with a GPU that's right, like, far down on the other side, like, with literally, like, no clock at hardly any clock at all. The temperatures are doing fine, which I'd expect because I'm not using so much power for it. So, which I'm, you know, so obviously the clock speed, the temperatures are going to be lower, but I can't lie, that's actually, like, it's quite interesting. Like, again, like I said earlier, it's going to be slower. It's going to be a lower score, but I thought it would have more of an impact than it actually has. I thought it was going to have more of like that it's just like stuttering because I'm doing something that I'm basically not supposed to do with it. I'm underclocking it, which you shouldn't really do anyway. But it's really quite like 8,608. So that's a massive decrease. Even so, the graphics card is actually performing still quite well. You know, for 2080 Ti, it's performing, like, really quite well. So, the CPU score is obviously lower. What I'm going to do, I can't lower the graphics card. Let's put the power down to there, and because that'll most probably blue screen on us, I think, because of the fact that it's got no power. Actually, has it got any power? Right, it's on 80% core voltage, so this may actually blue screen on us. Exactly, yeah, that's what I thought. Because it hasn't got enough power. So that's what I was saying by pushing it all the way up to the other side. So what I'm going to do, let's put this down. How much further can we go down? Oh, Christ. We can go, right, how far can we go down? Right, 100 megahertz, right? I'm going to give it as much, I'm going to give it 1.5 volts, 100 megahertz, right? So that's 0.1 of a gigahertz. That's less than your really crappy Celeron and Pentium or Duo core CPU with a 6-core processor. This is going to be quite interesting. Now, this may not even run the operating system properly. I doubt it. Oh, and it does. Right. So GPU tuner. So let's put this all the way back up to 100%. We'll leave it there because we know that's stable. We'll just quickly run OCCT just to make sure it is stable and make sure it doesn't blue screen on us. Again, it shouldn't blue screen on us, so long as it doesn't go, so the temperature doesn't go above 100 degrees and the power draw doesn't go above the 850 watts is actually in the PC in itself. God, look at that. CPU 100 megahertz, GPU 140. It used to be 1770 and then it's gone to 1440. Oh Christ, this is gonna be some 3D Mark score. Right, so that's fine. So let's open a 3D Mark system info just so we can get temps. And this is more what I was looking for. This is more the sort of thing that I was after. This is what I was expecting, but I didn't think I'd have to crank it down. Like, it's running at 9.4 frames per second, but that's at 100 megahertz. That's like the lowest you can go, you know, and it's running at 9.4 gigahertz. Like, that is the, and again, I mean, this is more of like this is only because this is a graphics card test, but right, so 6,908, again, 2,000 on the CPU score, but I'm quite, like, I apologize if you can hear my dog barking in the background, but considering that that's really, like, that's what I'd expect. That's the sort of score I'd expect to have a Celeron, or even just like a really crappy i3 CPU. So that's actually surprising me. So this is what I mean when I say that, like, even at a really low clock, the GPU can still go to 60 FPS. The CPU is actually doing quite well considering it's running at 100 megahertz. So that's actually, like, quite surprised me that, like, it's a combination of, you know, I knew this is sort of the thing I was going to expect. Like, I knew it wasn't going to, I didn't think it was going to break it because it's still running at 8 cores. And I didn't think it was going to be, like, the worst thing I could possibly get. What I'd be quite interested to do is to see if getting the really crappiest, like a 750 Ti and a Celeron CPU. So getting actually, what I actually want to try, let's get that case out. Let's move this case out of the way a minute. Where's that PC that we made, which is the cheapest PC we could possibly make? Is this one. let's underclock this, because now this score was 1224. Now, I know we can't underclock the CPU because it is already at an underclocked thing, and it is already at an underclocked like a really low clock thing anyway, so we can't actually do anything with it. I was meant to go into the BIOS, so we can't do anything with the CPU, with the system anyway. But can we do anything else with that? No. Turn XMP off because it's rubbish. Right, so let's try. So we've overclocked the GPU in this. Let's try and underclock it and see where we get to. So we go GPU tuner. We'll leave that there. So we'll put the clocks down to, so it's it's 1,770. Let's click apply. Open up OCCT. Just run the automatic test just to make sure it is stable. And see how, like, again, that's running at 2.8 gigahertz. So that's even less than the 9900K you was running at just a second ago, and it still manages to triumph over it, which I think is just bizarre. That, like, the fact that it's like it can pull itself back with the fact that it's got that 8-core system, which I don't know, I think is really mental. But this is the sort of thing, like, this is what I like doing in my like with these sort of, like, this is why I like PC Building Simulator, because I can experiment with things. Like, this isn't exactly as it's going to be in real life, but it's as close as damn it to what it's going to be in real life. And I like experimenting because within PC Building Simulator, this is the reason why I like things like Hyper-V and VirtualBox, because I can make a system that I want and do whatever I want to, and if it breaks, it doesn't matter, because if it breaks, I can just make a new one, because all I'm doing is just playing with the game. You know, it's not a massive issue. It's not like a massive issue if it does break. The problem is we're doing it in real life is if it breaks, I've wasted that money, so I can't, like if I did in here and, like, let's say that 2080 Ti or that 9900K breaks while trying to underclock it to, like, the minimum it can go. If it breaks, it doesn't matter because I can stick a new one in there. With in real life, a 9900K is a 400 quid CPU. If that breaks, that's 400 quid that's gone down the drain just for the want of an experiment. So that's the reason why I like PC Building Simulator, because you can experiment as much as you can. And if something breaks, it doesn't matter. And also just makes it for an interesting video, because, like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not in a position where I can do these experiments in real life because I haven't exactly got, like, a workstation. So again, doing it on a game, it's so much easier. It's so much nicer, but and it's a lot more convenient as well. So 864. Oh god. I don't think even I've seen a benchmark that low. I was expecting, like, what was it, 1224, I think it was. I was expecting something like 1,000 or 1,100. I did not expect it to make that much of a difference, that it takes off, like, 400 points just for downclocking this. Oh my god, that is ridiculous. But anyway, that's what happens if you underclock the worst system ever. 410 quid, bloody hell, man. Anyway, so that is about what we have time for in this Let's Play video here. It's a quite interesting experiment. I mean, I've been wanting to do this video for quite a long time, because it's always been, like, I just randomly think of stuff. Like, I watch a lot of, like, Linus Tech Tips, J2Sense, Bitwit, and all that jazz, and they do, like, a lot of different experiment videos, especially Linus Tech Tips. And it makes me think, like, what kind of things can I do, like, in PC Building Simulator, that'd actually be a cool experiment to go over. And this is something that rigged in my head, that I'm thinking, hang on a minute, what if I underclock a system? What would happen? And that's where this video idea came from. So anyway, if you've got any ideas of different, like, videos that I could do, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will get to them at some point. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content. I shall see you all later. Bye.